Sudden new work friends I never met, getting all dressed up for office meetings, plus that cologne smell. I mean, come on. I needed to know for sure though. First, I tried the direct approach. So who's this new work friend you've been hanging out with so much? I asked casually one morning. Melissa barely looked up from her phone. What? Oh, just people from the marketing team. No one interesting. Seems like you're with them a lot lately. She rolled her eyes. What? Are you monitoring my schedule now? I thought we were just roommates. She made air quotes with her fingers. Just making conversation, I said, walking away. Clearly the direct approach wasn't gonna work, so I made a decision that some people might judge me for, but whatever. I bought an AirTag. If you don't know what that is, it's this little tracking device Apple makes. You're supposed to use it for finding your keys or luggage, but people use them for other stuff too. I waited for a morning when Melissa was still sleeping. Her car keys were on the counter like always. I quickly took them, slipped the AirTag into this little pocket in her car's center console, where she keeps spare change and receipts, and put the keys back. The whole thing took maybe 30 seconds. That same day, Melissa texted saying she'd be working late again and not to wait up. Perfect timing to test my new setup. Around 6 p.m., I opened the Find My app on my phone and checked the AirTag location. It showed her car was on the move. I watched as she drove, not toward her office downtown, but toward the fancy apartment complex on the north side of the city. Total lie, obviously. Instead, I parked down the street from the apartment complex and waited. Sure enough, at 6:30 p.m., Melissa's car pulled in. I watched as she parked, checked her makeup in the mirror, then got out and walked to one of the buildings. She typed the code at the door and went inside. I sat there for maybe 15 minutes, debating what to do next. Part of me wanted to storm in there, catch them in the act, make a huge scene. But what would that accomplish? More drama? No thanks. I just took pictures of her car in the lot and the building she entered. Then I took a deep breath and drove home. I now had all the proof I needed.
Sweet.
My wife was cheating on me. The question now was, what was I going to do about it? I called Olivia on the drive home. When she answered, I just said, "You were right about everything." "Oh, Jake," she said softly. "I'm so sorry. What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet, but I'm done being just her roommate." That night, I slept in the spare room. Melissa didn't come home until after midnight. She didn't even notice I wasn't in our bed. The next day, I called in sick to work. No way I could focus on spreadsheets and meetings while my marriage was imploding. I spent the morning researching divorce lawyers and found one with good reviews who could see me that afternoon. I laid him. The roommate comment, the cheating, the house situation, our finances. "So what am I looking at here?" I asked after explaining everything. He leaned back in his chair. "Well, you're in a pretty good position, legally speaking. The house is in your name and you owned it before marriage, so that's likely protected. No kids makes things simpler. Virginia isn't a pure no-fault state, so her adultery could work in your favor. The main question is how contentious you want this to be. I don't want drama. I just want out." Smart man. The ones who want revenge end up paying me a lot more money. He gave me this knowing smile. "Let's draft the paperwork. In the meantime, document everything. Her absences, evidence of the affair, financial records, and don't tell her you're filing until we're ready." I paid his retainer and left feeling lighter somehow, like I was finally taking control of the situation. When I got home, I had a text from Olivia asking how I was doing. I suggested meeting for coffee, and she agreed. We met at this quiet little place a few towns over, where Melissa's friends wouldn't see us. She looked worried when she saw me. "You look exhausted," she said. "Haven't been sleeping much?" I stirred my coffee absently. "I met with a divorce lawyer today." Her eyes widened. "Wow, that was fast." Once I knew for sure about the cheating, it wasn't a hard decision. "Our marriage has been dead for months," she nodded. "I get it, but it's still a big step." Olivia reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Just a quick, supportive gesture, but it felt more genuine than any touch I'd had from Melissa in months. "What happens now?" she asked. "Lawyers preparing the papers. I'm gathering evidence." Then I served her and asked her to move out. "She's not going to like that." I shrugged. Tough. She should have thought about that before cheating on me. We talked for almost 2 hours. Not just about the divorce, but about everything. Our jobs, families, favorite movies, travel stories. It was so easy talking to Olivia. No feeling judged, just two people genuine. While Melissa was completely oblivious. She kept up her routine of coming home late, barely talking to me, and spending weekends out with friends. The audacity of it all just strengthened my resolve. At that point, Olivia and I texted daily. Nothing inappropriate, I wasn't going to be a cheater, but we were definitely getting closer. She told me about her past relationships, Her difficult family. I opened up about stuff I hadn't told anyone in years. She made me laugh when I didn't think I could. I thought it was nice having someone supportive through all this shit. A week after seeing the lawyer, the divorce papers were ready. The lawyer advised serving Melissa when she wasn't expecting it, preferably with a witness present. You want someone there who can verify how it went down, he explained, especially if she gets emotional and makes threats. Without thinking twice, I asked Olivia if she'd do my witness. She agreed immediately. I'll be there, she texted. Whatever you need. I set the date for Friday night, when I knew Melissa would be home. Time to end this farce of a marriage once again. Friday came faster than I expected. I spent the morning going over the plan with the lawyer, making sure I knew exactly what to say and how to handle different scenarios. He gave me the divorce papers in a manila envelope that felt way too lightweight for Melissa to gather. We sat there for a minute, not really drinking our coffee, just killing time. At 6:25, we headed to my house. Olivia's car was way nicer than I expected. Some luxury SUV that must have cost a fortune. We walked into the house, and for a second, I hesitated. It felt weird having Olivia here, Melissa's old friend in our space. Except it wasn't our space anymore, and Olivia wasn't really Melissa's friend anymore either. I gave her a quick tour, pointing out random things just to fill the silence. She smiled, that small, knowing smile she had. You don't have to give me the real estate agent walkthrough, Jake. I'm just here for moral support. I chuckled, rubbing the back of my neck. Yeah, guess I'm just not used to, someone actually wanting to be here. She tilted her head at that, like she was reading between the lines. Then, as we stopped in the living room, she suddenly reached out and straightened my shirt collar, smoothing it down with this small touch, like it was the most natural thing in the world. I froze, but the way she did it, so familiar, so casual, it made my stomach tighten. It had been so long since someone touched me with care instead of obligation. There, she murmured, her fingers lingering for just a second too long before she stepped back. You're all set. I swallowed, trying to ignore the heat creeping up my neck. Thanks? She just grinned, plopping onto the couch like she'd always belonged there. Anytime. And just like that, I started seeing Olivia in a way I never had before. Around 7:10, I heard the sound of Melissa's car in the driveway. Olivia and I were settled in the living room, the divorce papers laid neatly on the coffee table, waiting. Everything was in place. The front door opened, and Melissa walked in, oblivious as always. She took a few steps before she noticed us, then froze. Her gaze snapped from me to Olivia, then back again. What's going on? She asked, her tone already defensive. Why is she here? I stood up. We need to talk. Darkened as she looked at Olivia again.